Hi guys, welcome back to another discussion video, and my name is Morgan, and over there is Sam, and
Woo!
also, if you can tell, my voice is sounding less like a dying cat and more like myself. Um, but if I do pause this video at any, or not pause it, but if you do hear my mic get turned off, it's just because I'm coughing, and I don't feel like coughing in your ears. So yeah, but we are going to be discussing episode 13, 14, 15, and 16
It will
of
be officially caught up.
Ruler of the Mass, because we were kind of like catching up for a while now, but we are now officially caught up after this episode is done. Woo woo. And then later on, we're just going to be doing reviewing or discussing two episodes in one video instead of just clumping them all in one video. So,
Yay.
this video, or basically, um, sorry, I'm thinking. This video basically, like episode 14 or 12 ended with the prince going into Monk's son's room, and like while he's going in there, he sees that someone else is in there, and he realizes that's the ginseng that basically sung for them that night, Mi Chang. And do you want to kind of start us off into this episode 13, Sam?
Yeah, so they basically end up picking up where they left off. I'm sorry if you heard my phone just click off. Um, but they basically pick up where they left off, where we see the bracelet and everything, and she ends up I believe running out. Yeah, she ends up running out. Oh my God, it's been so long since I watched this episode, so it's like my
Well,
brain.
she takes the map, and
Yeah,
they
she
end up,
takes the map and throws like the money at them. I remember that part.
yeah, and they actually end up waking up Monk's son, and he calls the guards, and they run away, and the prince kind of loses Chang and stuff like that. But the biggest issue is that they she took this map that was very important, and at the time I didn't realize why, but now I realize it had where they were going to meet to exchange for the copper and all the
Mhm.
times and dates and everything. So that's why everyone's freaking out about the map missing.
Right. And we end up Muha also ends up seeing Prince Sun's face and recognizing him and like starts demanding to know exactly who he is and what's kind of going on. So now we have another person who's going to know um the prince's identity. So slowly people are starting to figure out who the heck this guy is, and it ends up playing more and more of a role as these episodes go on,
Yes,
of people
exactly.
figuring him out.
And like Muha gets really angry at the prince because the prince can kind of move around while obviously Deputy Han can't, and that he does not see, like, he does not understand all the sacrifices that people have made for him, which obviously I think the prince does realize this.
Hmm.
And it makes me angry that Deputy Han had to die because of him, and because he couldn't understand, like, you told us to do this and you let Deputy Han die. And the prince gets to his knees and he apologizes, which kind of like breaks down Muha, because he regrets for giving the report to the prince. But Prince Sun promises to bring down Pusuan, and Muha actually agrees to fight with them.
Hmm.
And since he promised that he would kind of stand by Prince Sun's side and fight along with him.
Right. And I also think too, like it's a little bit of like he has his own regrets for saying something because he said like it's my fault that I riled up this like small child essentially. Like he got him going because he the prince's emotions at that time were like I need to protect my people, I must protect them, and so he starts making stupid decisions. So like yeah, it's the prince's fault, but he can't make the prince take 100% responsibility for the actions that were taken. And so I think he kind of is kicking himself in the butt and blaming himself a little bit more for um, Deputy Han, is Deputy Han, yeah, Deputy Han's death as well. So it's kind of
Yeah.
a little bit of like he wants to put the blame on someone else, but he's also blaming himself at the exact same time.
Yeah. And then Daemon gets a report from the chief peddler person, aka Prince Sun, and
Mhm.
they find out everything that he has accomplished and like how he's gained respect from all the people and all the other merchants. But after all that, they haven't actually found the chief peddler. They haven't found him at all. And Deputy Han wants to meet him to either gain him as a someone he can work with or to just kind of kill him off.
Mhm. Yeah, is he going to be something that's useful to me, or am I going to have to get rid of him?
Yeah, and then we have Guyon who finally uses her brain and is finally like, "Oh yeah, I gotta get that pot out of that greenhouse." So she decides to put kind of like laxatives into the guards. I know she gives them these little pills, and she's like, "These are from the
Yeah.
king," and then they are like, "Oh God!" Like afterwards, and she like sneaks into the garden, and then um, she's caught by the guard and of course Pleasant Sun, which is crazy.
Right. Oh my God. He, like, the struggle of him deciding whether or not to reveal himself to her was kind of heartbreaking for me. Because he wants so bad to be like, it's not like I'm not the reason that your father died. I'm your best friend from like way back before. It's like it's me, but at the same time, he's like, I can't show her who I am. And so like, I thought he was gonna rip that mask off his face. I really did. And like at the last minute, he decides not to, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
Well, I was like, take it off, take it off, take it off, because I like feel like they could form a really good partnership.
Right.
But he pretty much decided not to take it off because he's like, she doesn't see me as a childhood friend. She sees me as the king who killed her father.
Hmm.
And it kind of hurts him because he's like, he doesn't want to be viewed that way by Guyon, but you know, he doesn't like he doesn't want to hurt her anymore or get her in pain or
Hmm.
put her in an awkward situation. So afterwards, after she leaves, Peasant Son wants to know why she's there, how long she's been there, how long she's worked for the palace. While while Guyon's pretty upset that the king doesn't even know who she is, and when she's probably thought about him like every single night and thought about like the man that killed her father.
Hmm.
So, um, and then
So they end up having like a little meeting thingy, um, back with what's her name? Mei Chang, whatever.
mm,
Mei Chung, names.
it's
Um,
Mei Chang. Yeah.
so they end up having a meeting with her, and Prince Sun is basically asks like what her motives are and like who she is and everything, and she presents him with the question of like, I will tell you who I am if you tell me who you are, and he's kind of hesitant about this because I mean we don't really know much about her, and so that leads me to believe they don't know much about her either. And they kind of have to be careful with what they say and who they say it to. And it's kind of funny that she's like exactly like you don't need to know and I don't need to know. We just need to know that we're kind of for this moment of time we have the same enemy. So I will. I think she was basically saying I'll help you, but like you're not going to know my motives behind me helping you.
Yeah, and to kind of back you up a little bit, how they met her though was because I love this scene by the way. Was when the his bodyguard Chun Moon and Prince Sun and Muha were in this room trying to find reports of the ships that were robbed, and they go to leave, but then they see that Daemon's son had brought a small army to the room, and of course Muha trips, which alerts all of them, and that someone's in that room. And so while they're like, oh, we're about to get caught. Oh no, uh, Mi Ching pops out of nowhere, and she's like, just follow me through this like route, the
This
secret,
super convenient door that's right here.
yeah, that leads to a tunnel to the ocean. Of course, creepy Haikun is waiting at the end, and she's like, hey, hi guys, and they're like, how, what? Like, okay, how did you get here? And she's like, yeah, she just told me to come here and I just followed. I'm like, oh, okay, woman,
That's
okay.
so cringy. I'm like, you don't know much about her. Like, she could, for all you know, be like an assassin, and you just were like, I'm gonna follow you to this cave on the dark beach with nobody around, and my friends are just gonna show up. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And also, real quick, um, Sun also told, or not, sorry, peasant's son also told his bodyguard slash friend that he wants to get asked about Guyan selling medicine in the palace, and he
Mhm.
wants him to bring her back to like the green room so he can figure out why she's there and why she's trying to sneak in the green room or the green room sneak into the garden to kind of help her out and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so I thought it was really funny about how they Muha was like tripping over things and they alerted them and they were like, oh no, and then Mi Chang popped out of nowhere. She's like, I'm here. Um, but um, um, so they all like you're right. They all sit down. They all talk, and it's kind of. Do you think that Mi Chang's kind of sketchy?
I do. I don't. Ah, she's seems very helpful, but I don't trust her.
Yeah. I mean, like she did say that because the prince's son was really surprised because she seemed to know what's happening around her, and she's really smart because she planned all the escape routes, and but she was like, you know what, I thought that the Shapeller was smart, but he seems like a little rash, and I don't know, she kind of seems like she knows a little bit more than she's letting off. Um,
Right. And I think she's trying to figure out where they play in her little plan, so let's go along with it for a little while till I know what to do with you.
Yeah, especially because she was like, remember, like you said, she was like, "Who are you?" And everyone around the table, because of course, like Muha knows, the bodyguards knows, um, of course,
Bagun knows.
Hagu knows, and they're all like, "What do you know? What do you know?" Um, so I mean, they're like literally sweating bullets. Um, but it's kind of sketchy how she like kind of shrugged it off and she's like, yeah, I guess it's not the right time anyways. But just know I'm here to help you. I'm like, I don't trust you, lady. I don't trust you at all. So, um, so then, uh, Monk is trying to pass a decree to the prince to prince or not prince son, I'm sorry, peasant's son to print more money, but because there's not enough copper, um, so then I think this part was a little confusing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the person who's in charge of the military has copper, so he agreed to give some of the copper to them, but he doesn't have enough to kind of like settle what
So
they have.
so what they were saying was that there isn't enough money in circulation to keep the market stable and everything. And this is what they need. They need X amount of coins to restabilize the economy, but they don't have enough copper to stabilize it. And
Mm.
essentially, what they were trying to get them to say is, we need the Piansu Hui, whatever, to we need to sign over the minting rights to them so they can create money so we can restabilize our economy because it's going to think about like I remember the recession we went through. There was not enough money to too much
Yeah,
debt. That's
yeah.
basically what's going on right now. There's not enough money to too much debt, and like the economy is just going to crap. And they need more copper, but for whatever reason, which we all know, there's not enough copper to create the amount of money we need to restabilize the economy.
Hmm.
Does that make
So
sense?
yeah, yeah, it makes sense. I wasn't sure if the military guy was giving copper, but um the queen is upset because she now realizes the whole plan because she thought like, I can kind of stop Day Monk from requesting to emit money, and she thought maybe he forgot about it, but of course he didn't. And um so she's kind of seeing the whole plan that he was actually gaining control of the money situation. And then also, do you want to talk about the end of the episode, Sam?
So the end of the episode, they've come up with this plan. They had been talking about how they needed a person who kind of saw about more about themselves and they actually were worth, like they were too good for the area, and they needed someone with enough men behind them to help them because essentially what they're going to be doing is they're going to be intercepting the copper shipment, but the four of them, four or five of them, however many people they have, can't do it alone. So they end up like really well coercing this guy into following them and asking them like, "Who are you?" and like,
Yeah.
um, they're like, they basically, I don't know how to explain this,
They
but
they
Moonha is his name.
yeah, Muha.
So they say Muha is like this like big person who that he actually isn't. And first of all, the whole interaction with him and the Japanese guy
I
without
loved
him
it.
being able to speak, I was loving it. And the Japanese guy's like, "What the frig is going on
It's
with
gonna
you?
be
Stop
like
touching me."
it's gonna be literally me, you, or mostly me talking Korean to someone. They're gonna be like, "What are you even talking about?" So
So, they make Muha out to be this big person and get this guy to follow them. And the episode ends up ending with Muha turning around, acting like this big tough guy, and being like, "What are you following us for?" And he's like, "Ugh." So
yeah,
that's basically
and then
how the
yeah,
episode.
and and also like they have it where Muha like he they like Day or no, not Day Monk Hagoon like talked him up to that deputy, or I think not deputy, I forgot, general, he's a general of the Navy, and was like, yeah, he's a secret agent here to kind of investigate the pirates, and he is loved by the queen, and the guy's like, oh yeah, yeah, because he's like always looking for promotion, and
He was eating
so
that up, dude.
yeah, so he's like, he got sucked into it hardcore. um So episode 14, when they're like, "Who are you?" I loved how the guy, the general, was like all timid. He's like, "Oh my god, no, no, no! Like, don't think I'm peeping like a peeping tom or anything like that." But I like loved how Muha is. He's like loving being in charge and being like, yeah, I got power because he's like, I'm a secret agent. Here, look at my badge. And he's like, like whips it in front of this guy's eyes for like 0.5 seconds. He's like, you see my badge? I'm important. Puts it away in like 1 second. It was like so funny because he's like, you see it, you don't see it, because I don't really have a badge, but we're just pretending. Um, but
Right.
they enlist the Navy, General Navy, to investigate the people who are pretending to be pirates
Hmm.
to kind of get them on their side.
So, we end up seeing well, there's a little bit of a conversation too between Guns, or not Guns, Hwagun's father and dude with the bad perm who got better hair. Um, and at saying like, well, the map has been stolen. Someone's probably going to come find us,
Mm,
and should we change the where we're going? And they're like, no, it's going to be hard to do it because like I'd have to send a hawk out. And he's like, I don't care if you send very specifically 132 hawks. Have you
mm,
changed the course? And they didn't. And
yeah,
of course, what they thought was going to happen happened. They ended up getting intercepted. But I thought that the Navy general for a second like backed out on his promise when Muha was like, "You stop right there. You're under arrest." Mer, mer, mer. And like nobody was coming out or anything like that, and they're all laughing at him. And he's like, "I always wanted to do this," and like he's
yeah,
living out his greatest fantasy ever. When it took a minute or two for the Navy people to show up, and so I'm like, did they run away? Is he
yeah.
alone? Is he about to die? And then they all come out and like start
Fight.
fighting.
Yeah, and
And yeah.
also on top of that, Haigoon, she knows what they're doing, and she knows her father's going to be there. So she goes through Gon, and she tells him like, "You protect my father. Like, you make
Right.
sure he's okay." Because I feel like she's a little conflicted of what to do. Like, she's a part of this. I would say, I don't want to call this a quest, but she's a part of this group, and they
Mhm.
trust her. And obviously, she has ties to the other side, which is blood, and so she's conflicted what to do, but she knows that no matter what, she has to protect her father. So
Mhm.
she tells her bodyguard to protect him. And then they're um, uh, as they're running away and stuff like that, the guy with the bad hair, he notices, or he kind of like, he's like, to Muha, he's like, "Do I know you from somewhere?" And they kind of recognize him a little bit, but it's too late because by the time they recognize him, there's already all these guards coming and they run away. But
Mhm.
as they're running away, Gon, of course, Gon pops out of nowhere. Not Gon, I'm sorry.
Quagun.
Chung Moon fights starts to fight with a guy with a bad perm but has good hair now, and Gon steps in, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's a battle of the luxurious hair,
Hmm.
because they all have really long beautiful hair, and although the fight scene was really short, I actually really liked it. I don't know about you, but I did like their fight scene, but it wasn't like long whatsoever. It was like really
No.
quick.
I think it kind of served its purpose though, of like us watching it and everything, and then them running off into like God knows where they were going.
Yeah, yeah. And then of course, like they get the bad guys, all the bad guys are arrested,
Hmm.
and then the prince noticed that not the deputy, I'm sorry, that the bad hair guy and Hagun's father is kind of getting away,
Hmm.
and so the prince kind of goes after them, but they get to Hagun's father and the guy with bad hair get to these horses, and there's some person with a blanket over their head. I don't
I
understand.
know.
It was like
I'm like, what is going on?
I rewinded twice because I was like, is that a cape or is that a blanket? It was a blanket over her head. Like, I don't understand this. And she like pulls it, like it falls down. It, of course, is Hagoon, and I don't understand this. But she's standing by two horses, and she is like basically lets her father go with the bad hair guy, and she slices her arm with her sword, making it look like she lost a fight. And the prince comes, and of course he goes to her because he'd rather make sure she's okay than go after them. But for
Right.
me, I still don't get the blanket thing. I mean, was she trying to be a ghost? Was
A
she
really bad
was
one.
was she not understanding the point of a cape? Did she not know how to use a hood of a cape? I don't
Yeah.
understand what they were doing there whatsoever.
It also like the whole internal monologue she had too after she cut her arm of like me crying in your arms is the happiest that I've ever
Oh
been. I'm
God,
like, your
kill me.
psycho is coming back out, woman.
Yeah, because oh my God, yeah, I know. Because when I saw that, I was like, I like you, but come on, put it back in, put back your sacredness in. Because like I think she just feels conflicted because she wanted to protect the prince, but she like betrayed him and
Hmm.
let her father go. And the prince is like, it's just happy that she's fine, which shows what type of person he is. That he rather make sure his people are fine and then catch the bad guy. But I think she's being like a bit over dramatic, like leaning on him and crying and thinking and being like thankful that he like she think I mean he thinks that she's just like startled and that's why she's crying, but she's just like over here being like, I'm just happy because like I'm in your arms, and I'm just like, oh my god, kill me. Like, Sam, like, were you not rolling your eyes at that part?
I was. I'm like, woman, like I understand that she cut her arm to get her father to get away and everything, but just that whole scene to me was mildly cringy. Um, I just, I was gonna text you about it too, but I was
Yeah,
just like, no, I'm just gonna keep watching. But I think it was I think it was good for his character, but a little unnecessary for her
for a
character. But
character.
it is what it is. It happened.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. Um, So they finally get the copper, and they are about to go back to the palace, and Mi-chan is there and is running late, and the prince looks at her and is like, oh, since you're running late, I'm seeing that you agreed to my request. I'm like, okay,
mhm,
what was the request?
right.
And well, of course, Muha is like, I'm so confused. What's going on? What's going on? And like, everyone has their own plan. Everyone's like, okay, we're going to the palace. We're going to do this. And he's like, I don't even know where I am. Who am I? Okay, I just gonna go this way. Sit down. Um, so they go back to the palace and stuff like that. So Hagoon tells the prince to trust her, because she is his person. And for me, I hear that a lot of times in historical dramas, like, I'm your person or she's my person. And I'm not sure if that means, is she telling him that she likes him and that she's like, I'm your soulmate kind of thing, or does it mean like, hey, I'm your friend? I mean, because I can kind of see her getting kind of greedy again, where she's being that psycho person to call you 24 times if you when you don't pick up, or you don't pick up within like, or you don't text back within 2 minutes or something like that.
Right. But I think that's more of a loyalty thing. Like, I'm your person. I'm gonna stand by you. Like, you need to trust me because I'll take care of you, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
only way I could take it, minus the fact that like she's obviously psycho crazy.
She
What is up
is.
with us picking dramas and psychos?
I don't know. Wait, hold on. What's our last psycho in the last Radiant Office? We have
Oh,
Chow
yeah,
Tae-ho.
we had Cho Tae-ho, and then I can't remember what his name was, but he was the
Jamin.
Hubei to
Jamin.
no, well, Jamin was psycho, but he wasn't psycho through the whole drama.
Um,
I would call Jamin, but it was
I'd say Ho-won's kind of psycho sometimes.
yeah, she
Oh, the
was.
doctor?
The doctor was psycho too. No, it was he was on the marketing team, and he was like the Sunbae to, or the Hubei to Hwan's friend,
Uh,
who always like took him out to eat and then forgot his wallet.
oh. Sean Young or Jae Young? Jae
Whatever.
Young?
But he was psycho.
Yeah, and then you have Chow Tae-ho. He's a psycho of all psychos. And then
Right.
the Goblin, you just had that ghost guy that came out of nowheres.
And then you had the creepy ghost lady
Oh yeah, I forgot about her.
with the gray dress.
Yeah,
She was psycho.
yes, she was very psycho. Um, but now, finally, and back to the drama. But finally, things are kind of going towards Prince Sun's direction. Prince Sun tells Wu Bu to give the copper to the queen, since she's the only one who has the power to kind of take down Daemonk, or to kind of
Mhm.
stand up against Daemonk, and which is kind of like things are finally turning around for him, which is nice. Like plan, but I felt like I don't know. I felt like it was too simple. Like take the copper and then yeah, I just felt like it was just way too simple.
Right.
Like a simple plan, a simple thing. Like it just was way too simple. But the guy with bad hair, he's basically I found out finally that he's the chief of the water district
Hmm.
of his water district. He's pissed and he thinks that Guyan told the warehouse about told about their warehouse,
Right.
and but of course Guyan has no clue what they're talking about. And do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about too is like, did he momentarily forget about the ninjas that showed up?
Yeah, was he's like, oh yeah, there were these ninjas, but Guyan, I hate her. Is that we're gonna go
Right.
against her?
You're the daughter of a traitor, so it's clearly you. And she's like, I have no idea what was in that. Like,
Yeah,
she literally was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just gonna walk away. And then he was like, I'm gonna kill you, kind of deal. And then the like right hand man to peasant son ends up showing up per his orders to go retrieve Gun.
yeah,
So he ends up saving her at the last minute. But at the same time, too, Prince Sun has now heard about them going after her, and so of course we have like the big heroic run. I need to get to her and save her and everything, and then we see the sword. And we're like, he made it in time, even though it's not physically possible. And then we see Peasant Sun's guard person saying
mm,
like, you need to come with me.
yeah, exactly. Also, uh, Prince Sun runs into Peasant Sun's mother, who recognizes him right away.
Hmm.
And she's like really shocked that he's there because she's been hearing from Guyan that he doesn't exist, that it wasn't him, and that he's denying it's him. And she like sees him, she's like, "Oh my God, it's you." So then we go back to they're in the palace, and Peasant Son is being so adorable, and he's so happy that she's just there. And unfortunately, she wants nothing to do with him, and she just wants her father's honor to be restored. And then Peasant Son gets an idea saying, well, why don't you come to my greenhouse every day, or, work at my greenhouse and plant some herbs for me? Which is
Hmm.
perfect opportunity here for her to find this pot that she needs to find, that she should have found in day one, but it took her like 5 million years, and she decided to stare up at the moon, and it didn't make any sense. Um, but I really just want him to tell Guyon what's going on, and so maybe Guyon can maybe like find the antidote for the poison, but right now it's blah.
Right.
Do you have anything else to add to episode 14?
I don't. Well, back with your like, this plan's too simple. Sometimes the simplest plans are the best ones.
Yeah.
Because the more overly complicated you get and the more like moving parts you have, like the more likely something's gonna go wrong. So I don't mind simple plans. I just hate conveniently simple plans, like something where it was like, oh, by the way, like this happened, like just for the sake of you getting through what you needed to get through.
Yeah.
So so I don't mind the simple plan of like, we're gonna bring the copper to the queen and she's going to help us because she has more power than the king does, because they all know who the king actually is. So I don't mind the simple plan. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate conveniently simple
No, that
plans.
I know. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, I hate simple plans are okay, but I get what you mean. Like, convenient plans are kind of like use your brain, come up with something else with a plot line.
Hmm.
It's like you can do it. But on to episode 15. So peasant son is really upset that he can't do anything for Guyon, and even worse, he feels like he's hurting her. And but then again, do you want to talk about? And so he like kind of leaves, and he's upset, and his bodyguard is gonna help him leave, and then we get a scene with Wiggly. Do you want to talk about Wiggly and how
I love
like you love
Wiggly.
her?
Oh my God. So Wiggly is my favorite character in the, or at least my one of my favorite like sub characters. So uh, Prince Sun is at their house, and Wiggly is talking to him, and is she's basically interrogating him of like, do you like my sister, and what do you do, and well that'll you'll make enough to like feed a family and everything like that. Like she is sizing him up, and he is just like, what is up with this little girl here? Like she is the best, really. Oh my God. And then God comes over and is like, you need to knock it off.
Yeah,
I love
I
her.
loved her. I was laughing during the whole part because I thought it was really funny. So then Daemon's son, since he lost all the copper, he wants to kind of rush his plans to get the authority to mint the coins before the copper arrives to the city. So he orders his son in chief, with like the one with bad hair, um, and to get the copper or to kind of step down from the ranks. So basically remove the ranks. So the Ministry of War is given this opportunity from the Queen and from both Day Monk. He can either give the copper to the Queen, or give the copper to the Queen, or betray, or I'm sorry, he can either betray the Queen or betray Day Monk. But
Hmm.
either way, he's gonna die. So he doesn't know what to do. But all of a sudden, of course, Prince Sun arrives, because he arrives right, at the time you need him, and
Right.
he's like, I have a I have an idea for you. He's like, I will deliver the stolen copper to the palace, since he's the one, of course,
Hmm.
transporting it, and in return, he wants um, the position of minister of personnel.
Hmm.
And of course, when the queen hears about this, she's very wary, because uh, she doesn't know who this is. She doesn't know what his intentions are. But the minister of war advises her to give him the position, because he seems very trustworthy, and his reputation is to be keep his word and be really trustworthy. So she agrees. And then, of course, the prince turns to Wu and asks Wu to be the minister, or take that position. And do you want to talk about why Wu was like so against it?
Well, he was upset because when he was in the government, he lived for the government and like what would be best for it. And he wanted to be someone who was for the people and fought for the people. And so like he's like, I'm not going back into that life that I fought to get out of. Like he doesn't want to just willingly waltz right back in and become this person that he hated so much before. Um, but the way this kind of position was described is like he kind of decides who does and doesn't become like part of the government. So I think it's a great position for him to be in because they kind of control a little bit more of like the people, and so there'd probably be less corruption if he starts like saying yay and nay to people. But
Yeah, exactly. Um, and I think maybe just like he doesn't want to be power or something corrupt too.
hmm.
But I agree with you. It's a smart thing to kind of put him in the palace, because you have someone on the inside, and also someone who can regulate who to bring in, who to not bring in, which is good. Also, I thought it was adorable that Wiggly made the king a bag. Like, she
Hmm.
sewed a bag. She wanted to give it to the king, and Guy was like, he doesn't need that. And the bodyguard, his friend Hunsuk was like, "Don't worry, I'll give it to the king." And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like peasant son's gonna freak out when he knows his sister made him something. But I thought it was adorable that the peasant son's bodyguard, basically helps Guyon with all her stuff to bring her to the palace, and is being very respectful to their family and stuff like that, which I think is really cute.
Mm.
So also on top of that, peasant son's going through this huge debacle because he knows that Guyon is in pain and that she wants to restore her father's honor. And so, just this one time, he wishes that he can be king so he can restore Guyon's father's image. But of course, the queen notices that peasant son and Guyan are getting close, and that Guyan's going into the going into the green room, which is somewhere where no one's allowed to go. So she's like, "Huh, a woman is going in there?" Like she's like, "My son's not gay." Yes. Um,
That's essentially the feeling I got too. She's like, he never looks at any of the court ladies, and so now he like has a girl. Like, I need to know everything about her. You need to get her in here. Like, let's go.
yeah, basically she's like my mom. So the queen invites Guyon into her room, and of course Guyon is like literally on the ground bowing the whole time, which is so awkward. And they bring in, and Guyan tells her that her father is the one that was beheaded 5 years ago, Deputy
Mm.
Han. And so the woman invites the king, invites basically peasant son to join them, and she tells them that she is going to basically restore
Stop.
honor to
Yeah.
Deputy Han's like Deputy Han, and but after Guyon leaves the room, the queen suggests to peasant son that they should bring Guyon in as a court lady, and after, of course, after they restore her father's honor, and that she'll make Guyon into a court lady, and that she'll do all these things for him. And she's like, well, I'm doing all this for you, so why do you still hold Day Monk's hand?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of mine. And of course someone's like, oh, it's a misunderstanding, I don't like, I don't mean to not hold his hand. But obviously she doesn't realize, like, if I don't hold his hand, I'm gonna die. And the queen basically tells him, like, if you want to have her in the palace, if you want Guyon to be by your side, you need to stall the plans for taking over the currency for 4 days, and she will help Guyon.
Yeah. So like peasant son is definitely grappling with this too. Is like because he sits down and realizes like if I give Day Monk what he wants, I live. If I hold my like if I give the queen what she wants, then Gotten becomes one of his concubines. But like, what's the point of having a concubine if you're dead? So it's like, what do I do? Kind of like
Yeah.
grappling with this thing of like which side do I go on? And the logical side says you have to go with Damoc because I think he would want to save himself kind of deal, but at the same time I don't think he's selfish either. And like he wants to make sure that the country is safe and that this is a good position for God to be in because like her family will be in a better position. Her father's status will be reinstated and she won't ever have to worry about being the daughter of a traitor ever again. So like that's a hard position to be put into.
Yeah, but I also think he's kind of greedy too, because like he was able to see her once, but now he wants to see her more and more and more, and like
Mm-hmm.
um, so of course, what does he do though, Sam? He he decides to play sick.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, and sends the doctor in and going, uh, the prince is or the king isn't feeling well today, so he's just not coming to class. Like, meh,
Yeah,
meh.
yeah. And then you had that creepy guy going to his bedside the next day, and being like, "If you don't go to the meetings, then you'll no longer get the poppy wine." I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's so creepy. Why would you not send him a note? Like, don't send some old person to his bedside at
Just gonna
night.
stare over his bedside and be like, "You're gonna die if you don't show up. Peace." Walk away.
He like walked away so fast. He was like, "I can really get out of here as fast as I can." And why send an older person when they obviously can't get away as fast as someone who is younger than them could.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining my head where like Bethesda wakes up and he hears it. He's like, like oh no, someone's there. And the guy's like, can you lay down for 10 more minutes? I'm not to the exit yet.
Hmm.
Let me get there soon. I'll get there soon, which that was funny. Um, but so back to the drama. Sorry, the water bureau chief and Daymonk's son take over the ship that is bringing in the copper,
Hmm.
and basically Chung Moon and Muha are overwhelmed and they basically leave the ship. And I think it's funny how Muha was like protecting himself with a bundle of I don't know or was like a package, and he's like, don't come at me. Why are you coming at me? I don't have a
Right. I
sword.
don't have a sword, but I also feel like too, like I feel like they gave up way too easily.
Yeah, they did. Definitely did.
Like they were just kind of like, and we all know why, like toward like at the end of this drama, but like it felt like, um, yeah, sure, take it, whatever. Let's run away. Like if the copper was actually there, I think they would have fought a little bit harder. And I really am upset that uh, oh my God, because they don't have names. Guy with the bad hair,
Deputy.
and
He's the deputy. Let's just call him. He's like a chief of
yeah, so the
the.
chief and Wagun's father are like, yeah, we got the copper back. Like it's like their shining moment. Which, if I thought I got the copper back, wouldn't you have wanted to like check to make sure it's there, kind of deal, not just grab whatever you got and
Yeah,
go?
they're idiots. Complete idiots.
They're in my people I don't want to be spies with group.
Yes, with Boggy and Juno.
Yep.
Um,
Oh my
but
gosh.
yeah, they basically later on when they're walking to the palace or walking to Daymunk, they're all happy, and then a package falls down and it's rocks. And you're just
Mm-hmm.
like, why? Like, why would you not check? Like, you're right, Sam. I would have checked. Like, that's the first thing I probably would have done was check real quick and then go. Like, if you maybe if they were scared that people were gonna come and find them, but like you honestly could check one or two and then be like, okay, let's get this copper, let's go.
Right.
But of course they didn't because they're idiots. So our peasant son is not doing well. He looks like he's gonna
Mm-mm.
throw up and die at any moment, and they're pushing him to give her the rights to the currency when Woo shows up like a badass once again, and Woo had agreed to the position because the prince needed him inside to fight to fight inside, and I think like why do you think Woo suddenly agreed rather than breaking
Well,
his youth?
I think
Oath.
Lee's son, Prince Son, definitely made some good points. And like what I was saying before was like, yeah, you didn't want that, but this is your opportunity to fight for the people inside the government. Like you're not working for them, you're working for me, and I'm working for the people. So this is a bigger picture kind of deal. Like we're going to be able to see the corruption from the inside out, and this is the best place for us to be. And like he trusts Wubo, and like I don't think he would ever trust anybody else. And he even says it too. He's like, I would not ask this of anybody else. He's like, I know you can do it, and I need you to do this. This is something that you have to do. Well, not have to do, but like you need to do. And I think he kind of felt for the prince because I think this was the first, not the first, but like yeah, the first solid like plan he's thought through. And even though he's asking someone to make a sacrifice, I think he understands the gravity of the sacrifice he's asking him to make because he
Mm.
even says this might cost your life. Um, so he knows what he's asking for now, rather than just asking them to do it regardless of the consequences.
Yeah, exactly. So Woo does report that um, that he does have the copper, and that an evil man disguised as a pirate stole it. Which the other people there are like, oh shit, like he's talking about me.
Mm-hmm.
And he announces that the copper is coming to the palace, and as soon as our peasant son realizes that they do have the copper and they can mint coins, he orders the minister of I forgot finances. I'm not
I
sure
thought you
what the
were going to
correct
call him the
term.
Minister of Magic. I
I
thought you
was,
were right there.
I was going to. um, to quickly go and check on the coins. As soon as he comes back, confirms it. He's like, okay, go print the coins,
Hmm.
and Peasant Son leaves, very happy. Of course, everyone else is not happy. People, especially Pusawan, is not happy. And he thinks back about the time when the three of them were there with the fireflies, and he's like looking at Guyan, and I'm just like, ugh, I don't want a love triangle. I'm so sick of a love triangle. I don't want it.
I think
Can
this
we
love
put it
triangle was
away?
built from the beginning, though,
I
and
know it's stupid
it makes
though.
sense though because like he was her childhood friend, and he obviously built feelings for her and everything. And
Yeah.
now then you have the prince who comes along, and this drama was obviously built around like the two of them getting together eventually. Hopefully, we could have another Moonlight situation, but let's not talk about that because that hurts my feelings.
Yeah, no, no,
Um,
yeah, that. Mm,
but the love triangle makes sense at least for this one. It's not like it was just all of a sudden out of nowhere. Like they've built the fact that they were friends from like little kids on, so it makes sense that he has feelings for her.
yeah, exactly. Um, Also, so um, when Lee's son, he's really sick, he's probably gonna die, but he gets the poppy pill from, so he could live for another month. Which I'm kind of like, you know what? You can replace anyone you want under the mask, like even one
Hmm.
of your members. So why do you keep? Although obviously he has to live because he's like one of the main characters. Why is he still alive though? Because from someone from the outside, wouldn't it make sense to put one of your own, someone that you can trust, under the mask?
It would, but then it wouldn't be a Korean drama.
Yeah, exactly.
So and
Um,
then no, Daemok ends up like he gets very very upset because the copper's all been taken, and his two idiot henchmen couldn't figure this crap out. So he wasn't too happy about that.
no, not whatsoever. And he basically strips the his son and the chief of their titles
Hmm.
because he's like, you can't do your job right. You don't need this. You're gonna stay at home. And he's like grounded. You stay at home. You're grounded because you didn't give me my copper because you failed at everything. So now we're on to episode 16, and episode 15 ended with the prince going to meet the queen, and the queen wanted to meet the chief peddler, and he gets into the room and he opens it, and she goes, "Why does he look like the king when he was younger?" Oh my god! Okay, this is so frustrating, Sam. So how the H to the L did the queen not realize that it's him?
Right, because she was so quick to figure out that peasant son is not the king, and just by hearing his voice, she's like, "This is what the king sounded like, or the prince sounded like when he was younger." So, like,
Really,
the
lady?
evidence is right in front of you. You could figure out that quickly for peasant son. Why couldn't you figure it out that quickly for prince son? Or maybe she does, and like she's not willing to like ruffle the feathers yet. I don't know, but I was frustrated.
I was frustrated too. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Oh, it made me really angry. But the queen asks Prince Sun why he wanted the Minster personnel position, and Sun explains, Prince Sun explains that he wanted to give to Wu Bu, so now they can fill the royal court with ministers, who will strength or to give strength to the king, and
Mm.
will fight against Pusawan, which of course the queen likes and stuff like that. But I think she's still suspicious over him because she doesn't really know who he is. But I think that it's kind of weird though because I feel like if I was in that position where I'm like, okay, I'm talking to my mom, and I know that the queen is a good connection for me, I would kind of take off the mask and be like, this is what happened. I want you on my side.
Right.
But instead, he doesn't do that. So it's kind of like he's trying to play his own cards, but it's like, why play your own cards when you can just create alliances? Doesn't make
Because
sense.
Korean drama where this is 16 episodes and in a 40 episode drama.
I know.
We gotta keep going.
Yeah. So
They
also,
end up. Oh
yeah,
no,
go
good.
ahead. No, go ahead. I was gonna say I love how Muha was like all
Yeah,
like, do you want to talk about that?
he was hormonal. Okay, like that's the best way to put it. So they finish the meeting with the queen, and Prince Sun and Wubo are like walking around the palace, and they end up running into Muha, who's like, Why does he get a promotion and I don't? I was a part of this. Meh, meh, meh. And then we wails him in the head with his promotion scroll thingy, and he's like, "Oh, I get a promotion? Okay," like such a 180. I was like, dude, you need to like
He's a little
go
puppy.
take a chill pill.
He's a puppy. I love him. He's like a little
He's
puppy.
great. He really is. And I love his little puppy love with was it Mei Chang or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah.
Because even though we don't know much about her character, we know we're gonna see those two interact again, and I'm like so
I
excited to
feel
see them
like
interact.
I feel like with that couple, I'm just like calling them a couple. I feel like they'd be going on the stakeout, and she'd be like all like ninjaed up, and he'd be like with flowers, and he's gonna be like, "I thought we were on a date," and she's like, "What?"
Yes,
Like that's the kind of character he is.
I could totally see that.
Me too. Oh my god. So this queen over here. Oh, I'm so annoyed. So Guyan and the queen meet, and the queen explains like all the bad things that the Waterbrew has basically done and like other doings, and basically blames the king for taking the Waterbrew's side, which of course
Hmm.
Guyan is what the f, um and the queen asked Guyon to become a
A
court
court
lady
lady.
to basically become her eyes and ears, and she wants to dethrone the king. And
And then she
I
goes, "You know my plan. Now what are you gonna do?" Like,
yeah, I was like,
such an
oh,
ultimatum.
what do you think about that? What do you think about the queen
The
trying?
queen's,
She's
I think
not.
the queen is desperate.
Yeah, I think so too.
She knows that things are going wrong in the country, and now she's kind of like reverting to kind of what Prince Sun was at the beginning of this, of like, I need to start making some decisions regardless of the consequences kind of deal, or
Hmm.
not thinking about the consequences of what she's asking, because like Gan could be a traitor first, like she does but doesn't know that, like she isn't a traitor, but she doesn't know that she's not a traitor, like kind of got to feel her out. But then she's like, here's everything I'm going to do, and here's what you're going to do. But like, you can come back tomorrow and tell me what your answer is.
Yeah, but my thing is like I kind of see. So I come on thinking about the queen. Okay, so the queen obviously knows that peasant son isn't the real king.
Mm-hmm.
She knows that, so she wants to get him out. She wants to get the puppet of Daymonk's punk puppet out. But she also knows that Guyon it's really close to peasant son. So why are you telling someone who's very close to you who
That I'm
you
going to dethrone him.
yeah. So that's the part that I'm like, oh, I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, why choose someone that you're closest to do it? Because, like, yes, I understand that she's mad because her father was murdered by the king. But
Mm-hmm.
you don't know if she still knows that the person who is, I mean, I'm sorry, the crown prince, who is now the king, who, like, is she, like, the same person. So that part I
Yeah.
was kind of like, it doesn't make sense, lady. Like, think you're playing a little bit full, like later on or like further.
But I think
Um,
she's also thinking of, because we know way too more details than she does.
yeah,
And I think she is kind of thinking the plan through a little bit of the king on the throne is not the king, he is a puppet king. And she can use Ga to her ability because he is close with her. And if Gan agrees to be the eyes and ears of the queen, the best person to get close to the king is the person he's already showing that he's close to. Like,
yeah,
there's no work behind it.
yeah, none at all. But she could agree, and then she could be a double agent.
Right, so like she's putting Gan in a really bad position in all of this.
Yeah, exactly. So then later on, or so in this episode, Muha, of course, Muha and Ubu and Chungwoo and the prince, not well, Ubu or not. Basically, it was Ubu and Muha get a little drunk. They get a little
Little,
drunk.
they
They get
are
a little,
alcoholics, okay? They are full blown alcoholics.
they are. Especially that contract that they signed. He signed a couple episodes ago and was like, "You'll buy me rice wine if you
Yeah.
don't." Um, but yeah, they're completely drunk, and basically, Chungwoo brings up to the prince that he beheaded Deputy Han, and he obviously still feels guilty about it. And the prince tells him, like, you know what, like it's not your fault. It's Pu Suwan's fault for making you do it. But kind of Chungwoo kind of turns the question back to him and it's like, are you gonna will you blame yourself? It's if Pu Suwan if you like, since you're losing Guyon basically, or if you lose Guyon, would you blame do you blame Pusamon for that? And the prince admits that he doesn't want to lose her, that he like likes her and he doesn't want to lose her. But then again, I'm like, you're in such a bad position. It's like there shouldn't be any love. Like, you're also fighting for the throne. Why is
Hmm.
there any love? Like, not love, but like, I just feel as a fight to the throne, you shouldn't get other people involved. And I feel like that's his thought process too. Though he likes her, he wants to be with her, he doesn't want to get her involved and get her hurt.
Right.
So, so then the prince. Do you want to talk about the prince and Guyon in that scene where he sees her on the hill?
I don't remember that. I remember them almost getting killed.
Yeah, that was like towards the end of the episode.
Yeah. I
Um,
know she gets really upset. Yeah, no, he ends up going to see her and she's like, you have no right to like worry about me because you aren't the person who I thought you were, so there's no reason for you to be worrying about me. And she basically is like, you need to go away. Like, you need to get away from me and never talk to me again. And as he's walking away, instead of like the internal monologue, like she out loud is like, trying to console herself, saying like, it's not him. You need to like, he's probably forgotten about you because I told you to forget about me. Like the classic, the girl goes, don't talk to me. And then she gets upset when you're not talking to her kind of deal.
yeah,
Um, and she's like, maybe he actually did forget about me and blah, blah, blah. So, like, at that point, I'm like, you kind of have no right to be upset because if he did forget you, which obviously he didn't, you're the one who told him to. You're the one who pushed him away, and you're pushing him away again, even though in your heart of hearts, you know that's him.
yeah,
So that
exactly.
was heartbreaking a little bit.
Yeah, and it was frustrating too because I'm like, dude, are we not done with this whole like I don't know you act? Like, I thought we were done with this. I thought you were like, yeah, I'm not. I'm trouble. I'm not like I'm that person. But honestly, you're still up with it. I was like, oh, it was really frustrating. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but Daemonk now realizes what the basically what the prince son did, and he wants to of course meet him. And so of course the emo ninja dude is listening gone, and so they are gonna send out guards to go find him. Now, Michan is actually, we actually get one scene with Michan in it. Michan is now dressed up as a court lady, and she is kind of being a creep again, and she's reporting to a door, and she's like, behind the door is a man, and this man basically tells her to or she basically tells this man that yes, this guy is the true prince and the one that they're looking for, and the man basically tells her to basically to look over him for the time being. And I'm just like, yay, more secrets that are gonna confuse me, yay. um
How many more characters are we adding to this show?
yep, right. um so then, do you want to talk about why Guyon decided to go to the prince's son?
Well, it's like she saw the picture that
Yeah,
Wiggly drew. So, or what is it, whatever her name is,
Wiggly.
Kokomo or whatever, but Wiggly. And she recognizes it and she's like, where did you find this picture? And, or well, like, why did you draw it and everything? And she said that, like, she had seen the prince holding the locket that, he had given her previously. Um, and so then she's like, well, now I gotta go find him again. So let's go ask the question we've asked like a bajillion times already. I want this storyline to be over with.
Me too. Me too. Me too. So she does. She goes to go find him, and um, Haigun hears from Goon, of course, that Daemonk is planning on capturing Prince Sun tonight, and she goes to find him. And Guyon and Haegun basically they're in a triangle. Like, they basically all see him at the same time, except um Guyan calls his name first, so he turns to Guyan first, and she asks for the last time, "Are you really not Chunsu?" Like, and before he can even answer her, of course, Daemonk's men pop out of nowheres and attacks, and Haigun watches, like, she watches from afar, not afar, but she watches basically him protect Guyan, and I think it's like a mix of emotions. Like, she's scared for the prince, but she's angry and she's confused, and she's like, "That's my prince, that's my man,
That's my man.
that's my man." So then the prince basically takes a knife or a blade, I'm not sure what to call it, or a sword. He basically takes a sword to the back for Guyon. He gets back in the back, and before anything else bad can happen, Hagen fires a flare into the air, and like which I guess signals for men to come, and basically, Chang Woon, finds Sun and brings him to Wubu. So at the merchant wedding or merchant meeting, they're at a merchant meeting, and I sorry, can't talk. Hagen comes out of nowhere, so she smacks one of Day Monk's men, and she's upset for them attacking her guests, which well, what if Daymunk, or I guess it makes sense now because Daymunk doesn't really know that that's the prince. Like he doesn't know like what his face looks, so
Yeah,
they
he's
can
not
all
100% on it. He knows he's the pack leader or whatever, but he doesn't know that he's the crown prince too. So like
yeah. Because she also
I
told
don't understand his motivation in trying to kill him, but
Yeah, well, I think they really just want to capture him,
mhm.
but maybe he got miscommunication. He's like talking to his ninja people, and he's like, "I want you to go and just get him and bring him back. We'll give him some tea." But they were zoning out, and they're like, "What did he say? Okay, kill him. Okay, we're gonna go kill him. Yeah, okay, that the plan. Yeah, okay, we'll just go kill him." So totally misunderstanding this whole situation, but she also asks Goon, her bodyguard, if Daemonk knows if it's the prince, and of course he doesn't know who he is yet, thankfully. So, did you want to talk about the ending of the drama?
Yeah, so the prince son, what he just got like slashed, and I don't understand K dramas and people having like a cut, like, and they even said too that it was like not that bad, but like let's just pass out and have sweat all over our forehead and like make it seem like the most devastating thing
Yeah,
in the entire
I'm
world.
pretty sure that's like an infection, and like you're dying.
You're dying if it's that bad. And he wakes up and finally, like, everybody finally admits who they are. Thank God.
Yeah,
Um, but as like they're finally admitting it, God like thinks about the problem or like what the queen had said, and then now she's in a really bad position too because she finally knows like she doesn't know who he is because like he's admitted to being his alias, not his actual person.
yeah,
Um, but like she has her person back, but now like she's got to go back to the queen and give the answer. So now we're in this like weird conflicting limbo
yeah,
area.
exactly. I also just find it kind of weird. I don't know. I just find this whole Guyon and the prince romance a little bit. I don't know.
I feel forced with it.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. There's more scenes with the prince and Haigu than there is Guyon, or at least
Hmm.
that's what I feel like. But with Guyon, I don't see the romance. It's like they were separated for so long. Now they're back together and they're like, I love you. But it's like, you just known each other for what, 2 days? How do you love
Hmm.
someone after 2 days? Like, how can you, like, be close to someone after 2 days like that? And for me, I guess it's kind of frustrating because I wish there was a little bit more built up with their relationship. Whether it be like they kind of knew each other, or like he knew her, but she like growing up, and they got separated, and but she never knew his face, and then when he meets her again, he's like, oh my god, you're my childhood friend, and I loved you. Or like some type of build up with their relationship, instead of just going from like, boom, we meet, boom, I love you after 2.5 seconds. But then again, that's Prince. As soon as he meet people, he's like, you're my best friend. So it's like, it's annoying. And but for me, I don't like the love story in this drama. I feel like this story could be more about action than about love, and I feel like we also get barely, once again, we don't get any time with the two main lovers. And I
Right.
don't like how Puswan is looking more and more weak, because once again, shouldn't Peasant Son be dead already if they didn't put him in, if he kept on making mistakes and kept on acting over his own decision? And why do they keep on uh like, I guess, keeping him on the throne and stuff like that? And I also don't get like what the end game is to Pusamon. Is it to rule over the whole country? Well, if it's to rule over the whole country, you already have your man there. then
Right, just take the mask and become the king.
exactly. Um, I also feel like there are going to turn into, um, like, hold on, I forgot what I wrote there. Um, also, okay, so I also really don't like, once again, um, like as much as I hate to say it, I also like I'm kind of on more of Hagun's side for romance because I feel like it could be more of a Romeo and Juliet story. But then again, second leads never get like the guy. But once again, I feel like they have more chemistry. I don't know why, but I just feel like they maybe have more chemistry. Maybe because she's like, "I'll protect you, I'll do everything." I just feel like with this drama, especially like action, can be over dramatic, yes. But when it comes to love, I find it too corny. I find it too rushed. I find it too pushed, and I find it too like teenager like Twilight kind of style.
Yeah, I agree with you. Is that like I'd rather see like the Hwagun Prince Sun love storyline versus Gan, because like yeah, it could be a Romeo and Juliet storyline where like one of them dies because it's a historical drama and everybody dies kind of deal.
Yeah,
But
yeah. What did you think about the time jump?
I liked the time jump.
I I did and I didn't. Like I felt like the time jump was necessary, but I felt like I don't know. I
I think
felt
the time jump saved us a lot of like not necessarily character development, but it saved us a lot of like unnecessary middle parts.
yeah.
I would
I
have liked to see his rise to like becoming the boss, but at the same time, I'm kind of like accepting of that he's the boss now. So like, let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I wish we kind of got more scenes of Peasant Son in the palace. And I am just frustrated with people not making connections when they can make connections, and I get frustrated when they can't. Like it's like it makes sense to make connections with people you're close with or people you know you can trust, but maybe Peasants or Prince Son, he knows he can't trust his mom for some reason. I don't know. It's so frustrating. But do you have anything else to add, Sam?
I'm excited for Wednesday and Thursday.
Yep. And we thank you guys for watching this discussion video. And then next week, I'm pretty sure we're going to be back to our schedule of posting both on Sunday. And I think we're going to be posting on Monday and Wednesday. Right, Sam? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think so.
And then, yeah, so we'll see you guys next time. My voice just cracked. I'm sorry. I'm going through puberty again. Okay.
Again.
Bye.
Hey guys, what's up? We hope you enjoyed that discussion video because we enjoyed making it. If you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. If you liked it, you hit that like button. We make videos every Tuesday and Sunday, and we will see you soon.